So today is my presentation of my technology assignment. This introductory lesson to the respiratory system is enriched with a video that goes into the anatomy of the respiratory system as well as a bit of the cardiovascular system, and also has a technology-based assignment for assessment. So let us begin. So PSA, dangers of smoking for fifth grade. Obviously, the Common Core lessons analyze the relationship between healthy behaviors and examine the seriousness of injury or illness by engaging in unhealthy behaviors. And the basic objective is that students will get a brief introduction to the anatomy of the heart and lungs. They will gain an understanding of healthy habits as well as unhealthy ones, and be able to use technology of their choice to share information and details um, about why smoking is bad, and things you can do to improve your lung health. And they will have to use Kaggle as a form of communication and brainstorming to initiate this. So essentially, I'll just start going through about what lungs do and the essential components about regarding how they do their job and what they need to do their job. And the two main things here are going to be oxygen and blood flow, because without oxygen, you don't live, and without blood flow, you don't live. And considering the respiratory system is very connected with the cardiovascular system, that's going to be something that has to be taken into consideration with this lesson. And I found this really nice video, which I'm not going to play right now because it can take like 2 minutes just to get through the middle section where they actually label the different parts of the lungs and explain how they work. And I don't want to run this longer than 5 minutes, but this is a really good video. It covers the definitions, it covers the visuals. On top of that, the vocabulary is fifth grade level. The visuals kind of are at a third grade level, but overall, I think it's perfectly suitable for its lesson, especially considering this is an introductory lesson, because we're not so much concerned right now with these little parts as much as we are concerned with understanding what affects these parts. So, again, going to go into bad habits, which is that our lungs improve with exercise and clean air, but they do not improve at all. And in fact, they get worse, and they can get really messed up with bad habits such as smoking. And of course, I will have visuals basically saying to the students that this is what a healthy lung looks like with clean air, and this is what a lung looks like with bad air, such as coming from the cigarette. And of course, explain that when you smoke, you actually coat your lungs with tar, which can make your lungs harder to expand and contract. It can char them like they're a 4th of July steak, and that essentially you are burning your lungs, and that'll prevent that'll prevent them from circulating oxygen into the blood, and then the blood through the heart, and the heart will have to work much harder to get little or a less amount of oxygen through the body. So what if my lungs get a little burned? Can't I just fix it with burn cream? I'd have to make it very clear that tobacco, cigarettes, and cigars are addictive, meaning they become a part of your regular mental thought process, and explain that the tar not only coats your lungs, but it coats everything in relation to how you breathe, so throat, windpipe, bronchi, veins inside of your lungs, and essentially you have to explain that you can't wash it out in one sitting. It takes a while for your body to filter those things out. And if you keep smoking and you keep building that up, you're going to permanently damage the tissues that are supposed to filter out these bad substances, and that buildup causes nasty problems. And I would compare this to plaque on their teeth, because if you don't brush your teeth, you get cavities, you get rotten, and kids who have gone to the dentist, let's face it, a lot of kids go to the dentist for cavities, would see that this is a real problem. So what sort of nasty problems? Well, for one, you get infections like pneumonia and bronchitis. You develop disorders like asthma or COPD, and you could develop long-term debilitating diseases like cancer. And again, going into heart disease and how that relates to the respiratory system is because when there's less oxygen going through the lungs, that means that your heart has to work much harder to pump a less amount of oxygen through your body, and so your heart's becoming strained, and your heart's not getting the proper nutrition it needs from the oxygen because it's so busy trying to get blood everywhere else, or else you will pass out or die or just eventually feel extremely fatigued. It would prevent you basically from doing things like this, such as holding your breath for a long time, playing sports, singing, running, swimming, things that kids typically like to do. And of course, go into healthier habits like, oh, how can I treat my lungs and my heart with the respect they deserve? Exercise, for one. Kids love to play sports, and this could be good in getting students outside, maybe teaching them more about their lung capacity by having them do breathing exercises, and also to make it very clear to just say no to tobacco. And the second part incorporates into their assignment. Their assignment is basically to spread the word. So they're going to share what they've learned and what they can also independently research via a PSA, whether it's through video, flyer, or newspaper. And all of these have to use facts from the lesson and text, video, any other research they can muster up on their own. And it's mandatory that each of the groups must use Kaggle to establish the focus of their PSA and outline, which they can also share with the teacher digitally so the teacher can keep up with them in real time. And also, if the students cannot meet up at lunch or between periods or between lessons or after school, then they can just use Kaggle to visually see what they're putting in, as well as have a chat. And going through the chat forums through paragraphs and chunks of text would take forever, whereas Kaggle is more of an outline, like a visual outline of. It's better than a web chart. I really like how Kaggle could really work for this. So students will have the option of making a video. Considering students have smartphones, I think a lot of students would like that. It has to be at least 2 minutes long. It can use any video program, but it also must have a narrative. So they can put in like an audio narrative, or they can actually talk during the video, share testimonials, or quote research. Give them a chance to be professionals, like they're almost newscasters. Then, of course, a flyer. They have to use visuals as well as text for that, and use Microsoft Word or Excel. Or any other document-based program of choice. And this flyer will be uploaded to the teacher, obviously, and the teacher will virtually distribute it and possibly get it uploaded to the school website, which I think schools would really love to show off the work their students are doing, especially when it's health conscious or community conscious. And then lastly, a newspaper article, which must be at least 1 page long. It can be bullet pointed, it does not have to essentially be paragraphs. And I would say use PowerPoint. So a page is basically just a PowerPoint slide or two that could be formatted together, because you could screenshot it, you can send it in, and they can format it, copy, paste it, or whatever. And a lot of schools do actually have newspaper articles that are about the same size as a slide, depending on what pages you print it on, or also even digital newsletters. So essentially, yeah, that my technology incorporation is the video explaining the anatomy of the lungs, as well as how students get out what they have learned so far and how to get personally involved with their health. So that is my lesson.